It is that time of the week. Benny Walchuk is joining us. You see him right there, the SJHL Report, thanks to Southie Mainline Chrysler, the new king of trucks in Southie, Saskatchewan. Okay, Benny, let's start with last week. We really led people astray, as they say. We sent them to the Northern Lights Palace for the Worth the Drive game of the week, and it was an absolute drubbing. What happened?
Yeah, it's one of those off nights for Battleford. Justin Merrick's been outstanding for them since returning back from the Western Hockey League. And sometimes, like you have in any other hockey, you just have a little bit of an off night. And when you do so against the top team in the Saskatchewan Junior Hockey League in the league, it's probably not going to end well for you.
Yeah, so if we had a fuel sponsor for this program, we would send people that went to that game on our advice, maybe a gas card. Okay, 6 SJHLers named to the Canada West camp for the Junior A World Challenge. First off, is 6 kind of the huge when it comes to how many SJHLers are going?
Yeah, something like that. There is 30 total invited to Canada West camp, and you're separated. If it'd be equally the 10 teams or 10 players from each league, the AJHL, the SJHL, and MJHL would go, but there's only 6 SJHLers, 6 MJHLers, and I guess there'll be 18 Alberta Junior Hockey League players will be named. So it's maybe a little bit lower than I expected. I thought a few more of these guys might get named, but especially with the head coach being from the Saskatchewan Junior Hockey League in Mike Reagan and the assistant coach from the Northern Manitoba Blizzard, but definitely well-deserving. Connor Miller, Oakland Melkawain, and Jacob Stritzy from Humboldt, Luke Lepper and Cohen Semf, Regina product from Flin Flon, and then Jackson Herchak from the Kindersley Clippers, all named to that team. So they're actually starting their camp today. They'll have camp for the next couple of days, and they'll have it decided on, I think, Thursday if they make Canada West for the event that gets underway next week in Camrose. It's a great event. You've had Philip Forsberg playing that event, Brock Besser. You've had Nicholas Ehlers playing that event with Denmark, with Oliver Bjorkstrand. So there's some great players from that event, and it should be a great event next week.
Sportscage.com. I talked about it yesterday, the SJHL Power Rankings. Melfort still at the top. Flin Flon and Melfort, they're both on absolute heaters right now.
Yeah, 7-game winning streaks for both of those teams, and a big part for Flin Flon is Matthew Keeper. Had a cup of coffee in the Western Hockey League, and he came over in a move last month, and he's a 6-0 record so far since joining the hockey club. So he's been good, and we talked about it last week. They lost their leading scorer, Flin Flon, Carter Anderson, to the BCHL, to the Chilliwack Chiefs. So they've been finding some scoring by committee, but when you have a good goaltender in the Saskatchewan Junior Hockey League, you're going to have great success, and that's what Flin Flon's been getting.
Benny, I'm going to be heading up to Melfort to watch the Mustangs on Friday. They are hosting LaRange there. A little shout out to Kevin Kaminsky, brother-in-law, and the LaRange Ice Wolves out there. Tell me who I should be watching on Melfort. They're obviously one of the best teams in the league, and we're just talking about how great they're on a run right now. Who should I be watching on that squad? Who's somebody that's going to really stick out to me?
Yeah, their defense is very, very good. I know you can't really pick out one guy. I know Nicholas Andrusiak's having a good start to the season, the former WHLer in Saskatoon Blade. In between the pipes, Matt Mulaka and Christian Coombs have both been very good. But one guy right now, and it's kind of a good segue because he's the SJHL Player of the Week and MVP of the Week in Riley Cote, who had 3 goals and 3 assists. He's vaulted himself into a second in league scoring behind Caden Drury of the Malva Millionaires. So it's a guy that came over, played last year in the BCHL. He's a big body, 6'3", 200-pound, big power forward, and he had a great weekend in that game against the Battleford North Stars on Friday. So that's probably one guy in particular I'd take a look at is Riley Cote, big man who can really put the puck in the net.
Does Riley Cote, does he know about the real Riley Cote from like the 90s and the tough guy from the PA Raiders and then the Philadelphia Flyers?
He might. Yeah, that's spelled a little bit differently. And actually, if you follow the SJHL last couple of years ago, Josh Cote, who is a very outstanding netminder, the Canadian Junior Hockey League goalie of the year, SJHL goalie of the year, that's his younger brother. So two Cotes playing very, very good in the SJHL. But yeah, that's kind of interesting to have the kind of same name, but a little bit of different spelling.
Cote senior hockey team might have to get these guys when they're done their junior careers, just load up. Melville, right? The money men, little resurgence action as they keep moving up.
Yeah, they're on a 3-game heater right now. They went into Kindersley and beat the Clippers 4-1 and 5-2 there at the Interpipeline Arena in Kindersley. So they've had a good team. They had a little bit of a lull there, and you just weren't really getting a save. And they finally did get a save the last number of games here from Nick Janetzi, the product down low in south of the border in Michigan. He's been outstanding the last couple of games for the Millionaires. So, like I said, goaltending is a great success, and if you can get a stop with Doug Johnson's system, where he doesn't let a lot of shots on net, so probably between 20 and 25 shots a game they allow. So, if you can make that first stop, you probably have a good chance to win the hockey games. The Millionaires have been doing it. And we talked about Caden Drury. He's been outstanding. He leads league in goals. He leads in assists. He leads league in points right now for the product at Carrot River, Saskatchewan. So he's one of those guys that hasn't been talked about maybe as much for an NCAA Division I scholarship. But if you're watching this, you probably take an eye on number 77 for the Millionaires. That'd be a good bet for you.
Benny, we're talking about who's on heaters, who's doing really well right now. The Millionaires, the Mustangs, Flin Flon. Who's somebody that is struggling a little bit lately? Might have to do with injury, maybe just coming back down to earth. Who's somebody that's struggling a little bit right now?
Yeah, one team right now is the Kindersley Clippers. Kindersley had a great start to their season, and they've kind of went on a little bit of a tailspin right now. They played a lot of home games here because the Tankard and the Viterra Pinnacle or the Scotties has taken place there in Kindersley in the new year. So they've been playing a lot of home games, and maybe they're getting a little bit stale right now. Maybe not playing as much. I think they've lost 7 of the last 8 games. They're at home. So they're a team that's struggling as well right now. Yorkton Terriers, they've lost 3 in a row. After that Highway 10 home and home series, they lost to Malville, then they lost to Nipawin in overtime Friday, then they went into Whitney Forum and lost there. They're a team that's battling some injuries, especially on the back end. They have a few guys banged up. They have a guy who got suspended for an incident happening in the Flin Flon game as well. So they're a team that's too good to be struggling right now, so you expect them to rebound, and maybe they can rebound here on the big ice in Wilcox, where there's plenty of open space for those skilled players. So those are 2 teams, and it's just like any hockey. You kind of go through these spells right now, so those are probably 2 teams that are expected to be powerhouses, and they still probably might be powerhouses going forward, but struggling right now.
Yeah, you're in Wilcox this evening as Yorkton's in there, as we mentioned earlier in the show. Okay. Any update for us that we can say? They seem very tight-lipped in Weyburn. I've been asking people what's up with the rink there. Ammonia leak, unfortunate. They've what kind of updates do you have for us?
Yeah, they've had some games rescheduled. I know the Yorkton Weyburn game that we're supposed to be at, that's been rescheduled to December 17th. What I've heard from some of the latest is they hopefully at the earliest Monday, I think December 9th is a Monday, so Monday, December 9th is hopefully they get back on the ice. They went through some checks with the ammonia, and I think they had those over the weekend. So if all goes well, they can start working on maybe the plant that was kind of stale and wasn't able to be worked on because of the ammonia leak and nobody allowed in the building. So I think they're going to work on the plant here this week. And for what I've heard is the best case scenario, they can be back on the ice there on Monday, December 9th. They're on the road right now this weekend, so it doesn't affect right now at the hockey club, but they do have, I think, 3 games in 4 nights, or 3 games out of 4 to end off their pre-Christmas schedule here before the break.
A funny story that I heard, it was at Agribition last week. I was talking to a gentleman, and he's saying his kid's minor hockey game got canceled in Weyburn because of this ammonia leak, because they're not allowing anything in the rink. Obviously, I don't even know if the plant's on. And the kid was like, "Oh, but it would have been so much fun to have us play there, and we all would have skated around, and we would have sounded like Woody Woodpecker." And then it was like, "That's helium, ammonia, 2 different things." So he had to explain to the kid gases. Yeah, I think they learned that later in schooling, not in like grade 6 and 7.
A lot of these players have been experiencing small town arenas. Mydale, they've been to Radville, they've been to Yellowgrass. So it's been a little bit cooler maybe for some, especially these SJHL teams, the Red Wings practicing in these communities, which is great for these local communities to open the rinks up for the cities.
Absolutely. Hey, I think today that we just confirmed I'm going to be emceeing Hockey Day in Saskatchewan in Kenora. Yes. Which I've never been to Kenora, so I'm going to be leaning on you for some insight into the beautiful. I can't wait. I'm might wear my Ukrainian dance costume when I go up that way.
You've had good pierogies, your Baba's pierogies, but when you go to Kenora, you get some good pierogies there for sure.
I got a high ranking of pierogies and then mushroom sauce. I only rank it if there's mushroom sauce involved. So heads up.
And dill.
Yes, yeah. Heads up there. I don't mind a nice halabshi, also a little cabbage roll action. Okay, worth the drive. Game of the week for Southie Mainline Chrysler, the new king of trucks. I'm going to give one first since last week, and then I'm going to let you think.
Redemption, boys.
Mine this week is the surging Melville Millionaires Friday in Flin Flon to take on the Bombers. That's mine.
That's what I was going to go to. So we'll have to change it up a little bit. Let's go Larange and Melfort. Bidsy talked about going there. So Larange and Melfort, I think they have a home and home this weekend. So they go to the Palace on Friday, then up to the Mel Hagelin Uniplex on Saturday nights. And both teams are playing well. It's going to be tough. You don't go to Larange and not get kind of beat up a little bit. And it's a different experience up there at the smaller arena. So it's not the easiest place to play, even though you're the top team in the Saskatchewan Junior Hockey League as well. Also, there's been Teddy Bear Tosses night. I know there's a Teddy Bear Toss on Saturday in Yorkton. So we're getting into that season with Teddy Bear Toss season, which is not much of a delay for us. Kind of a pain in the butt for our broadcasters. We have to have a little bit of timeout, especially if it happens maybe beginning of a period or something like that. But it's a great cause.
So, here's an idea when you need to kill some time. Get people to send in their best pierogies in the area for us. And then you can rattle off those.
Yes.
And Bidsy, be very disappointed if you're not tarp off waving it in the air guy at that game on Friday. Okay. So we need that.
All right. Okay. I'll do my best.
They have garbage can kids there behind the benches. The playoff time especially, they go behind the benches. And I wouldn't do it behind Killer. I know you knew Killer pretty well, but I don't know if I'd be banging garbage cans behind Killer during a game. But they're the garbage can kids down there, and it's a great little ritual they do there in Melfort.
Okay, Benny. Travel safe for the week and all that, and then we'll catch up next week as well.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. Have a good week.
Yeah, it's the SJHL Report for Southie Mainline Chrysler, the new king of trucks in Southie, Saskatchewan, 30 minutes north of Regina. Worth the drive, every time guaranteed, whether it's new or used. Visit Southie Mainline Chrysler. Quick break. You are watching the all-new Sports Cage. We're streaming at sportscage.com.